What is up guys, welcome to another video. That Geeky guy here. Today we'll be looking at a Blitz Prism deck. This time we'll be focusing on a aggro build here. Right, so since this is a budget deck, we won't be looking at anything that is above the rarity of rare. So we're gonna look at cheap options that is available to us, and we're gonna try to use that in order to build a Blitz deck. So for this one, we're going to be focusing on the aggro attack actions such as the heralds in order to beat our opponent. So let's get started with the loadout here. So once you see the list, you're gonna see a bunch of different equipments here, but the important one that we have here is the Iris of Reality. So this is going to be our weapon of choice. This is the only weapon of choice we have since we are running the budget version, so we don't have access to luminaries. Next, Dream Weavers. This is an excellent equipment for Prism, so it allows you to have a huge turn where it removes the Phantasm attribute of our attack actions. Then next we have Hardened Cross Trap, so this reduces our attack action cost by 2. Goliath Gauntlet, so most Prism attacks does cost 2 or more, so we can use this in order to gain another extra 2. Then finally Iron Rod Helm for that extra armor. So you can see we are very light on armor. We have only 2 armors at our disposal, which is the Iron Rod Helm and also Iron Rod Legs. So depending on matchup against Kano, you want to switch up for a bit. Maybe take a Nalrun Glove, the hood, and also the boot, or you can just keep the Dream Weavers and change it into the robe, the hood, and also the boot. Again, some Kano matchup. And against a Viserai, you can safely change the Iron Rod Legs with a boot or the Iron Rod Helm with a hood. So both either way is fine. So that's it for the loadout. Let's take a look at the different attack action, attack reaction, and defense reaction. So let's just quickly go through this. So we have Herald of Triumph. So you can see that our deck does play a high amount of blue. So we have 12 blues, so which means about a quarter of our deck is blue. So this allows us to efficiently pitch and in order to attack. And also the amount of blues allows us to actually swing Iris of Reality if we get to create some spectral tokens. So for Herald of Tenacity, we're playing 2 copies of blue, 2 copies of red. Since it has a dominate attribute, so even the blue one is quite useful, as it forces the opponent to either use a defense reaction or also an attack action and one of their armor piece in order to block this. Since most defense reaction has a value of 4, and most attack action does have a value of 3 or 2, so depending on whatever attack action they are playing. So dominate is a good attribute to have. Another blue that we have here is Herald of Ravages. So if you guys notice, I talk mostly about blue because blues are usually the harder choices to make. So in order for a blue to be useful, we must look at whatever of the hit effect that it has in order to choose the right one. So Herald of Ravages, so this is the choice of blue that we have here. So if it hits, we get to put this into our hero's soul. Once something is in our soul, we can trigger Prism's ability in order to create a Spectral Shield token. So that's one of the ways we can do that. So now when it hits, it basically deals up to 6 damage, and also it has a value of 5. So this means your opponent, in order to block this, they need to either throw 2 cards or they have to use a defense reaction and a equipment piece, unless they are running unmovable or things like that. So next we have 2 copies of Pummel. Of course, since most of our attacks is cost 2 or more, so this plays very nicely. Phantasmify, so this is a more damage increase for our attacks. Sink Below, it's just an overall great card. One of my favorite defense reaction because it lets us cycle our hand. Scarf or Scam, just for that useful go again. So since you are an aggro deck, so you're gonna be taking some hits. So you're going to use that to your advantage in order to trigger Scarf or Scar. So it is very similar to also Life for a Life. So these 2 gains go again upon having lower life. Next we have Herald of Triumph. I love this card because of the reduced attack action damage when defending. So when your opponent is trying to break this using Phantasm, so against some Levia matchups or some Brute matchups, so this is actually quite handy to have. Herald of Protection, if it hits, once again it creates a Spectral Shield token. So these are some of the heralds we have. So moving on, we have the Enigma Chimera. So this is I'm putting in 2 raids. The blues doesn't have much uses here, so we're gonna focusing on the raid. The raid here have a very plain phantasm here, and also 8 damage. So 8 damage is a good damage to have, which basically means 2 defense reaction, or your opponent has to throw 3 card hand in order to fully block this, or they will just throw 2 card and take the remaining 2 damage. So that's usually what happens. So this is another good card. So combining this with Phantasmify, this can deal up to 13 damage, so that's excellent. So when you want to have a big turn, you can always break your Dreamweaver. Now if you take a look at Dreamweaver here, you can always break this in order to remove that Phantasm for our big turn. So in order to swing for a big turn, we can use break the Dreamweaver, Phantasmify, and play cards like Enigma Chimera or the others, Herald, that gives a huge amount of damage. We can even add a pummel if you have enough resources in order to do that. Now to gain enough resources, we can always use the Hardened Cross Trap in order to do so. So we can actually discount our cost here. So next we have Herald of Rebirth. So whenever this hits, we can put it into our Hero Soul and we can recycle some of our attack action. Next, finally, we have Unmovable. So this is just another defense reaction against a harder hitting decks. So we do want to survive. So we're gonna be throwing 2 cards in order to block up to 6. Also, this is a blue, so our deck is quite resource intensive, so I decided to put in blue, but you are free to explore and even choose to put in a yellow or a red. An alternative to this is actually Reinforce the Line, so you can check that card out and see if that fits into this deck. Finally, we have Sigil of Solace, just a great card to have in Blitz for those extra life. So guys, that's it for the Prism Aggro Blitz. Tell me guys what you guys think down in the comments below. See you guys in the next one. Do like, comment, subscribe, those really help, and see you guys in the next one. Bye.